Hey. Hey. Alright guys, what is the date today? The 19th? Sunday, 4/19. What is it, 4/20 tomorrow? You guys are probably wondering why I'm wearing this camouflage beanie. See these beanies camouflage? Like Duck Dynasty style, I guess. Well, I had it actually before they became popular, but the reason why I'm wearing it is because I'm kicking it out in my yard, drinking a couple beers a few nights ago, just relaxing, just eating stuff. A bird, a freaking bird, like a blue jay, like a big bird, came and landed on my head. Came and landed on my head. There's a little knot right here where the seam is. Came and landed on that perch, on that little knot. Came and spun around a couple of times, and then I moved my head, flew away. I've never had anything like that happen. And the timing of it, the synergy of it, probably fits right in with what I'm going to be talking about today. As you guys notice, it's another private video. I'm probably going to be doing more of these because it's just easier, simpler for me to put everything into a video. I don't know, once a week or whatever. Put it all together for you guys. But if you'll notice on the blog, the last two posts, or some of the later posts, there was a Rothschild post that made a mention to the Rothschild coming and taking away the Chinese gold. And there was also another post that said the world gold collateral accounts are worth $700 trillion. Okay, yes. World gold allocated accounts are worth $700 trillion. And this is what this means. Basically, all the gold floating around in the world and all the bullion banks, whether the Illuminati have it or the Chinese have it or the Russians have it or whomever, if it's Bolshevik gold or it's old gold from Egypt or Caesar's gold from Rome, who cares? It's worth like $700 trillion, okay? That gold, as you know, has been trading hands from west to east over the last years, decade specifically, around there. Okay, make a very long story short. What is slowing down the process, this changeover into the new financial system and this changeover into this new paradigm of reality, is that in a very short sentence, the Chinese have gotten greedy. The Chinese have become like the Illuminati. And this is what I mean. The gold that they possess, the 700 trillion or 600 trillion, they own a lot of it. It's supposed to be used to liquidize, rehypothecate, re-instrument the financial system. They are being stubborn and they don't want to do that. And I'm not going to get into it right now about how it's all structured in the financial order, but basically how the world operates is you have the gold that backs everything. You marginalize that, you derivatize that, and you issue that in paper currencies 3, 4, 5 times over, okay? And no one knows about this 700 trillion in gold. David Wilcock has talked about it, saying that in Laos and Cambodia, the Chinese have pulled boulders of gold out of the earth. That is true. That's why the Illuminati are not scared about issuing all these derivatives and all of these financial instruments that go into the beyond the trillions into the quadrillions. They're not afraid of that because they can always reliquidize the economies by anteing up the gold hoard or portions of it to stop the breakage. And that is basically what the Chinese have been doing. I said in 2012, Illuminati fold their hand. The Lehman catastrophe happened in 2007, 2008. That was 7 or 8 years ago. And from 2012, it's been a good solid 3 years. What is keeping the system going? The Illuminati are not that strong. They're not that powerful. What is keeping the system barely limping along? It's the Chinese. It's the Chinese. And Jim Willie said this several months ago. He said, it's like Weekend at Bernie's house, where Matthew McCarty, I think his name was, the guys that were, and I think it was Joel Silverman were in that movie, and they were taking Bernie, the dead guy, and propping him up and making it look like he was waving to the people and still in possession of his property and he wasn't dead and that Bernie was still alive. Okay, Jim Willie specifically said that's what the Chinese have been doing. That is very, very, very true. But what has happened is that instead of turning the whole system over, and starting this new financial system, they continue to want to keep the old system limping along, because as they keep it limping along, they continue to take possession of more properties, more equities. They continue to get more powerful, and they've become greedy. They have become the product of what they wanted to destroy and overtake. And in very short order, what I have heard, what has been given to me, and granted guys, take this with a grain of salt, because I've got a new intel source. It has not been vetted. I do not know if this is even true. It sounds real, it sounds realistic, but what I have heard is that the $700 trillion gold hoard, or most of it, 95% of it, that the Chinese are in possession of, has been taken from them by the space humans. It has been literally taken from them. The space humans, the blue avions, whatever Wilcock's calling them these days, the higher dimensional beings, the light beings, however you want to refer to them, the beings that are at the cusp of the source energy field of the universe, whatever they may be. I call them space humans. There might be other interchangeable words. They have taken the gold from the Chinese, because the Chinese are dragging their asses in not changing over the new financial system, and it's unfair to the 7 billion people that are starving, that are in pain, that can't find themselves in this chaos and muck that has been created, and the higher dimensional beings are done with them. And this is what it's going to do. It's going to force the Chinese and the rest of the world to re-liquidize, re-hypothecate, re-inflate, put to its correct position the price of the remaining gold metals. Because that's how they have to balance the system. See, it's $700 trillion worth of gold. You don't care if there's all of this debt out there, because you can always take some of the gold and fix the hole, okay? Without that $700 trillion in backstoppage, and you only have, let's say, a few $1 trillion, and there's a quadrillion, $1,000 trillion worth of liquidity out there, you've got to have an asset that balances out the amount of debt out there, okay? So that you have a backing. That means that the price of gold being low down here, and the $1,000 trillion, quadrillion dollars in debt and derivatives and financial instruments, they have to balance. There has to be something to suck up all the debt. It has to balance out the amount of debt. So that means what for metals? They have to go higher. And that is, from what I understand, why the Chinese have been making these last 48 hours desperate moves to bring their stock markets down, because they're trying to force that equity into the metals market, which will bring the price up, and then it'll be able to liquidize, if I'm saying that correctly, balance these derivatives and financial instruments that are out there. Now, I'm not saying that I'm the best financial guy out there. I'm giving you guys a rough estimate. I want to give you guys the information. And what I want to say is we're going to have to see if this is the case. Again, I got a brand new intel source. This is the first intel they've given me. I have no idea where it's coming from. I do not know. This is not space human stuff. This is not intel from my other sources that have been very reliable, as you guys know, over the years. This is brand new. So I'm testing it right now as much as you guys are testing it. But I have a funny feeling. It just, in my gut, okay, in my understanding, feels and sounds correct. It just feels right. Because listen, look, guys. Why is the global financial system, after the collapse of Lehman in 2007, 2008, which Jim Willey calls a death event, correctly stated, a death event, why is the global economy still going after 7, 8 more years? We're in 2015. How is it continuing to keep going? Because the Chinese don't want it to stop, okay? And they have had the gold to back the derivatives so that at any time they could come in and be savior, okay? They haven't done so. The space humans, ultra-dimensionals, are very upset at them. And they have taken their gold. They have taken it. So we will see as time rolls on how correct I am, and we're gonna have to just let this one play out. But I've been hinting to you guys again on the recent blogs here in Disinfowars, $700 trillion global gold, Wrathchild that's coming and taking it from them. Yeah, I was hinting at that. I didn't have time to get around to it. This is what's on the agenda, and I wanted to share it with you guys because when I heard it, I was absolutely blown away. And you gotta understand, when I was picked up by the space humans, they pulled me through my roof. So they got the technology that far outweighs any science fiction stuff that we have ever seen. So to do the same thing with bars of gold and metric tons of the same thing is not improbable. It is very possible, and I am the witness to attest to this type of technology. So it is not out of scope, it is not out of focus, and it sounds logical. But again, we'll have to see. So, you know, and I thought it was funny that the bird comes and lands on my frickin' dome. I'm like, that's what it did. Unbelievable. All right, guys. Sunday, tomorrow's 420. I don't know if that means anything. Doesn't mean anything to me, but I don't know. Some people get into that. Anyhow, guys. Peace.